very warm welcome to all of you today, and thank you for your patience as well. We are thrilled to have you all present at this first Next Leaders Workshop in Meghalaya. To begin this morning, we will have a few introductions by some of our state leadership and key speakers. Our first address will be from our Development Commissioner, Mr. Sampath Kumar. As Principal Secretary of the Health and Family Welfare Department, the Community and Rural Development Department, and the Social Welfare Department, he has initiated several key programs for addressing development challenges in Meghalaya.
So good morning to all of you. And I would like to extend warm welcome to our Honorable Chief Minister, Shri Conrad Sengmaji, for attending this inaugural session and to inaugurate this workshop. I would say, in fact, our Gates Foundation country lead for evaluation, what Mr. Sanjeev Sridharan, who is here, and he fondly says that this is a summer school for leadership. So basically, this is a program, first of its kind, we have been organizing. I also welcome our respected Chief Secretary, Mr. D.P. Wallang, and also one very keynote address, is going to be delivered by Professor Michael Woolcock. Professor Michael Woolcock teaches at Harvard University, and he's the creator of this framework, Problem-Driven Iterative Adaptation approach, along with Land Pritchett and one more, Matt Andrews. There are three people, in fact, they wrote this book, State Capability. I think this is a very popular book for, which is, seen as a guidebook by many people who actually engage in the state capability building. So I also welcome Mr. Shailendra. He's a dear colleague of mine, and he's currently the Joint Secretary to Government of India, Niti Aayog, and who has been here. I welcome Mr. Shailendra for being here. And I also welcome Professor Arun, who has, again, a professor who is working with the state and also Niti Aayog, Professor Arun Manoharan, who also actually teaches at Suffolk University. And Mr. Ashish Desai from Niti Aayog. So I just briefly, before telling you what is the purpose of this workshop, this is actually, I wanted to tell you, you must have seen the name Next Leadership or Next Leaders Workshop. And also it's written first cohort. So first cohort. So basically, many cohorts will happen. After this, the idea is that it's so important. I think you're all aware. Our Honorable Chief Minister fondly tells this one that we need to make our state, as a developed state in the next 10 years. And we need to, how that is, to make it happen, we also need to really work differently. We need to work differently. We need to work differently means it's not, only one thing. We need to work systematically. We need to build systems. We need to build institutions. We need to build the capability, not through only training, but through practice, on a daily practice, how actually we are going to build the capability. Some of these concepts that are coming up, idea is that to work in a very systematic way, and also, investing on the cutting edge leadership, who are that is about the first cohort of this leadership. The participants of this workshop is cutting edge leadership who are going to, play a very important role in building the state capability. So with these few words and the purpose, I would like to once again, welcome all of you. These 2 days would be amazing because, in fact, I thank Gates Foundation, Dr. Sanjeev Sridharan. He also brought quite a extensive, very, very good people across the globe. In fact, some of them will be attending through online, and they all will be speaking to you. This is a first of its kind, program in India, I would say, where, and along with the Niti Aayog also, they will say, trying to, do things differently and, to make a difference. So with this, once again, thank you. And I'm sure it will be very, very fruitful, learning for all of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I would now like to welcome Mr. Shailendra Dwivedi, the Joint Secretary of the Development, Monitoring and Evaluation Office, DMEO, of Niti Aayog, to say a few words about the purpose of the workshop. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chief Minister, sir, Chief Minister Meghalaya, Honorable Chief Secretary, sir, Chief Secretary Meghalaya, Mr. Sampath, Dr. Sanjeev, Michael Bulcock, Professor Arun, Ashish, my colleague from Niti Aayog, all the present leaders who are going to be taking their leadership to the next level. And that's why we call it next leaders, not that, you know, it is not that you will be leaders next and you're not leaders today. You are leaders today and you're going to take that to the next level. I think that's the main purpose of the workshop. And the other purpose, I think the goalpost that Mr. Sampath has given to the state of Meghalaya, and I think under the guidance of Chief Minister, sir, and Chief Secretary, sir, for Meghalaya to be the capable learning state. I think that is a wonderful goalpost that he has set for all of us. And all of you who have got very important roles to play in Meghalaya's development journey here on, based on the experiences that you have had, the successes you have had. You just heard about how within 8 months you could move from 34 to 2nd, was it? And wow. So that's the kind of leap we can take if we have the commitment to work as a team, work collaboratively, as Mr. Sampath was stressing. And this is actually the beginning of a new phase, I would think, for the state of Meghalaya. And you have, I think I've been telling this again and again to Sanjeev and Sampath, sir, while we were preparing for the program, that this is going to be Meghalaya's opportunity to be the testing bed of the India of tomorrow. Because Meghalaya, with its very well-knit team, the size is its advantage. We can complain about the topography and all that, but let's look at the strengths. And once we look at the strengths, we know we have all it takes to become the state that Honorable Chief Minister, sir, is dreaming Meghalaya to become. And I think that is what we need to prepare the roadmap for, and that's what these 2 days are about. It's just about starting off this new way of thinking, the new way of doing, the new way of practice, the new way of collaboration. And that's why, because it is such an important one in the context of the country, that Niti Aayog is interested in this program. So thank you very much, and really looking forward to these 2 days and the time beyond that. Yeah? Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Next, I would like to invite one of our key speakers of these next 2 days, Professor Michael Woolcock. He has come all the way from Australia to be with us today. He is the lead social scientist with the Development Research Group at the World Bank, where he has worked since 1998, and is also a lecturer at Harvard University's Kennedy School of Government. And as Mr. Sampath mentioned, he's one of the creators of the PDIA methodology. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. And thanks to all of you for coming and giving up whatever else you would be doing if you weren't here. Thanks to the Chief Minister for being here with us today, and to all the other people that have made this possible. Anyone who talks about implementation and tries to take it seriously should be recognizing that not just the people at the top of the pyramid, so to speak, make things happen. It's the people at the bottom, all the way down to a wonderful official at Air India yesterday who, if he didn't do his job and solve a very particular problem that I created for him, I wouldn't be standing here and you wouldn't be listening to me. So implementation is about trying to understand these very different ways in which things have to happen in order for our broader policy objectives to be achieved. And it seems to me that, and to my colleagues when we were thinking about this work, that so much of the emphasis, especially amongst the pointy-headed people who frequent places like Harvard, is that we focus on policy. And policy is really important. Good policy is obviously better than bad policy. But you can list hundreds, if not thousands, of books and articles that have been written on policy of one kind or another. I don't think you can list 3 that have ever been written on the importance of implementation and trying to understand the dynamics of that and the different ways in which that can go right and the many other ways in which it can go rather wrong. And so these kinds of gatherings I think are a real attempt to try and take that space of implementation seriously and try and really engage with all of that. And the importance of all this, though, isn't just because we need to try and implement policy. It's because the scale of which things are going to be unfolding over the next few years is going to put a premium on being really good at being able to do hard things. To the best we can measure these things, and in the book we try to document some of this, the state of state capability around the world is stagnant or declining on average. That's not true always, it's not true everywhere, and it's not true in every sector. But if you look at it just at a broad brushstroke level, most governments in the world are really struggling to do what they're expected to do and what their citizens expect them to do. So if your systems on average in general are declining, the number of people going through those systems is increasing, and the expectations that all those citizens have are rising but not being met, as manifest in global articulations like the Sustainable Development Goals, which have now pledged, and 193 governments in the world have pledged, to provide lifelong learning for all people. There's nowhere to go once you've set that as your goal, right? So that's the world we live in, with capability flatlining or declining, the number of people going through those systems increasing, and the expectations that every one of those systems, that those people have of their systems itself is increasing. Those are the spaces where we need to have a whole revolution in how we think about implementation. Training, like these workshops, is a good thing sometimes. Getting advice from other people who've worked on issues and finding best ways to do certain kinds of problems has advantages. There are ways in which we can defer to the kinds of advice that experts might provide to us. All those things have their place. But as the world gets more complicated in the terms I just described, with more being asked of our systems that are still struggling, we have to do a much better job at being able to think about those kinds of problems that are being created even by the succeeding of our policy initiatives, not just by the failures of them. Succeeding in development means completely changing how people work. Succeeding in development changes where they will live. Succeeding in development changes what they will aspire to achieve in their own life and their own children's lives. It will completely disrupt many people's established ways of living. So whether you succeed or whether you fail in development, we are creating a world in which there's a high premium for focusing on these adaptive challenges and finding a complementary set of tools and techniques for responding to them. And that's ultimately what the whole PDIA agenda is about. It's not about coming here and trying to sell you on some new product and kind of convince you that this is a 10-point plan for fixing your problems. It's about having hard conversations about complex issues in a safe space, finding a vocabulary that enables us to do that, and then being able to build out ownership of a strategy for engaging with problems that will then have a richer understanding of what their own constituent elements are, and then trying to map out ways in which we can find plausible and supportable solutions to them. That's the essence of what we'll be doing today, and looking more then tomorrow a bit more at some of the evaluation aspects. How do we know whether any of this stuff is actually doing what it claims to do? What are the bounded conditions under which this stuff might be terrific? And what are its limits and what can't it do? And I think the essence of doing good strategic work is always focusing on what the limits of what you can't do as much as what you can. And that's what good leaders ultimately do. So we teach at Harvard. Leadership is about what you're not going to do as much about what you are claiming you do. Anyway, I hope that the next days are fun and enjoyable, as much as they are difficult. We sign up for these kinds of careers because we like to believe that we can use human reason and resources to change the world for the better. If it was easy, we would have already figured it out. We haven't, we never will, but we try, and that's what we spend our lives doing. And I hope we are able to participate in that together in an enjoyable and satisfying way over the next few days. Thanks.
Thank you very much. I would now like to welcome our Honorable Chief Secretary of Meghalaya, Shri D.P. Walang, to say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good morning to all of you. Our chief guest in today's workshop, this inaugural session, Shri Conrad K. Sangma, Honorable Chief Minister, Principal Secretary of Community and Rural Development and Development Commissioner, Sampat Kumar, Mr. Michael Woodcock from Harvard University, our Joint Secretary from Niti Aayog, Mr. Shailendra Dwivedi, Mr. Sanjeev Sridharan, Mr. Arun Manoharan, Ashish Desai, and officers from different departments who are here, our consultants, our participants in this very important workshop. I wish you all a very good morning and welcome to this very important workshop. First and foremost, I would like to thank the Development Commissioner, Mr. Sampat Kumar, for inviting me to be here this morning, to be part of this inaugural session. And it's a workshop which I've been waiting for a long time, because right from the time when I joined service and till about a few days back when I had a discussion with Sampat, I've always mentioned with my colleagues that the biggest challenge that we face in our state is implementation. We have very good plans. The plans are awesome, beautiful, well conceived, but when it comes to implementation, somehow we always hit the speed breaker. So this is one of the biggest challenges as far as our state is concerned. We always have support from the political executive. We have support from the local people if we engage them properly as stakeholders. But there are still many projects which are not completed, which are slowing down, which are not seeing the light of the day. Therefore, my conclusion when I had a discussion with him was that we have a big challenge, and this challenge is implementation. There's a gap between what we conceive and what we eventually see at the end of the day is widening, and we need to really address this. So it was very heartening for me that you've decided to start this new concept of capability enhancement, and also to start with this project of the Next Leaders Workshop. We have a project, we have a place, we have promotion, and most important, we have people. We have a project, there will be a project somewhere conceived by the different departments which we have to implement somewhere. It has to be in some place for some stakeholders will be there, for the public, for the population. There has to be some promotion, because once the project is completed, obviously, we would like to take some mileage out of it. The political executive would like to surely take some mileage out of it, because it is performance after all. But most important, to get all these, what we need are people. And I'm happy that we are having this workshop, because we are focusing on human resources and we are focusing on people. Because this has been our weakness, which I've noticed, and I'm sure that by interacting, by exchanging knowledge, by exchanging resources with your fellow colleagues and also with experts who have come from across the oceans, I'm sure that you'll all be learning something. This process, our learning curve will always have to go up, up and up, and we always have to learn new things every day. We have to enhance our capability, and I'm sure with that, the implementation also in the state will improve. We don't have to reinvent the wheel all the time. We need to learn from the success stories of projects in other states. We need to share our experiences. And we need to learn not only from the success stories, we need to learn also from the stories that failed, why they failed, how they failed, which is very, very important, so that you can take corrective steps as far as project implementation is concerned. So with these few words, I wish the organizers of Meghalaya Next Leadership Program the very best, and I'm sure that you'll all learn a lot in the next 2 days here in this workshop. I look forward to working with all of you, and I'm sure that with your enhanced capability, the implementation challenge that I was talking about will be reduced, and we will see better performance in the coming years. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, I would like to welcome our Honorable Chief Minister of Meghalaya, Shri Conrad Sangma, for his address and vision sharing. Welcome, Honorable Chief Minister.
Our Chief Secretary, Shri D.P. Watlang, our Principal Secretary for Social Welfare, Health and other departments, Shri Sampat Kumar, Professor Michael Woolcock, who is our one of the resource persons and has traveled a very long distance to be here with us, Mr. Shailendra Dwivedi, all the other guests who are here on the dais, and all the other officials from different departments who have joined us today here to be part of this, I should say, one of the most important programs that we're having. Just recently, I was watching a Netflix program. I was on the flight, so I get time to watch Netflix on flight. And it was on Israel. And it was a small documentary on Shimon Peres, the president of Israel. And he talked about his life and how he started off building Israel, or how he contributed in making Israel what it was. And there was one line that just sunk into me when I heard him speak. And he said that when they started off, they realized that Israel has nothing. I mean, they don't have resources, they don't have minerals, but the only thing they have is their people. And they realized that if they can build this asset of their people in terms of the knowledge and the capability, then they will be able to take their country forward. And I think that really is the crux of why we are here today. And I can tell you that from what my experience has been, is that one thing that leadership should not do is interfere in the process of actual implementation. And that's really, I feel, if politically, if leadership allow good people, the only question mark or the star I would like to put there is if there are good and capable people. We strongly feel we need to build up that capability. Now, while we do that, let me also share that the capability and this entire exercise starts off with one very important thing, and that is the mindset. If this exercise needs to be successful on what we're doing today, it starts off with your mindset. If you do not have the correct mindset, if you do not have the correct thought process, no matter what capability you have in line, it won't make a difference. The second mindset is about a vision and about a goal that you have in mind. Now, when you start off, in whatever you're doing, if you're going to start off by thinking that these are the areas that have been given to you, and these KPIs are there, and you work on these KPIs, and you just work as a machine and work towards completing those numbers that are there, then I think we are starting off with the wrong mindset. The mindset is really to achieve the larger goal. And until you don't see that, no matter what we do out here, it's not going to make any difference. I'm sorry to say that. And for us, at least for me, being in the political leadership, I strongly feel 2-3 things. Number one is, of course, I'm very, very clear about this. I talk to a lot of our officials. When they meet me, I ask them, are you the 80-20 ratio, right? So I ask them, so are you in the 20 or the 80? And the reason I ask this, I don't know, most of you know this, but some of you might not. But I believe that 80% of the system doesn't work. Only 20% works. So can we shift that and make the 80-20 on the positive side and make the 80 work and the 20 may not work? And at the end, I just want to leave you also with this thought, and the reason I'm building up this talk towards that line, that all of you are not going to be good at everything. You have to realize that you have a passion, and you have to realize that you are good at few things, or good at many things, but you're better at few things. I think that's very important. And this is another area or kind of mindset which I feel is important, because today, if you look at Mrs. Sampath, I'm sorry, I'm making a very big example of him today. Mrs. Sampath is a person who is very passionate about all the social issues that are there. And imagine if you have to put him in administration, and tell him that, now sit down and do finance, and a person who's a field man, who likes to visit, who was with I think the only principal secretary or commission secretary at that time, to have actually gone to every block. And imagine putting him in finance and telling him you can't go out anymore. I think he'll commit suicide. So, you have to realize the capability of every individual and align and allow the individuals to be able to do those things. And there's a certain level of capability required in for example, in the infrastructure vertical. So infrastructure vertical requires one to be aggressive, requires one to go and be after the contractors. You have to really have a time-bound approach. You have to move towards ensuring that the contractor does his work. So that's the infrastructure vertical requires a certain kind of capability. When you look at the social sector, it requires a different kind of capability. You require a bit of patience. You do require a bit of, kind of being soft. You need to require that you need to, realize the kind of different challenges that are there. And similarly, when you're in a socioeconomic vertical, like, for example, agriculture, tourism, there's a different kind of a mindset again, or youth, in fact. Because there you are looking at both the social aspect as well as the economic aspect and trying to balance both of these things. So therefore, these are different capabilities that are there. And I think as leaders, when you go along, it's very important for you to be able to recognize those capabilities in your teammates and how you will be able to build up that team and allow that team to work is really the ultimate challenge and the goal. And hence, as you move along as leaders, you will have to be able to recognize the capability of your team members, allow them, build up that capability, and then allow them to do their work, that is, and just guide them and monitor them whenever you feel that things are not going correct. And I think if that kind of a model is adopted at the state level, at the district level, department level, block level, I think we'll see things really moving forward. So that's really what I wanted to say, and that's the reason why I feel this particular program is important, because this capability has to go all the way to the grassroots. It cannot just be at the top level. Even a small bit of capacity building, the right direction, the right mindset can have a huge impact. And our effort is to change that 80-20 narrative. So when we say 80-20, we always look at it from the negative side. The 20 works and 80 don't work. Let's try to shift that to 80-20, where 80 work and 20 work a bit lesser. Or I shouldn't say they don't work. They work a bit lesser. So I think that's very crucial, and I hope that these kind of programs will lead us and help us to reach those particular goals. So with these few words, I wish this program the very best, and I wish each and every one of you the very best for the future. Thank you very much.